Lisa Miller, The Awakened Brain, The New Science of Spirituality and Our Quest for an Inspired Life. Embark on a transformative journey with The Awakened Brain, The New Science of Spirituality and Our Quest for an Inspired Life, by Lisa Miller. This book explores the profound connections between spirituality and mental health, unveiling the substantial protective power of spirituality against depression. Delve into the groundbreaking research that uncovers the innate, biological capacity for spiritual development and reveals the physiological basis of depression and spirituality. Discover how cultivating your spiritual capacity leads to an awakened brain, enabling deeper connections with others, nature, and a greater unity.
Spirituality and depression. Dr. Lisa Miller discovers that spirituality protects against depression after witnessing a dramatic change in patients during a Yom Kippur dinner. Her research reveals that high levels of spirituality in both mothers and children provide the strongest protection against depression. Dr. Lisa Miller's interest in the relationship between spirituality and depression began early in her career when she organized a Yom Kippur dinner at an inpatient ward where she worked. The 4 patients who attended, normally agitated and volatile, became calm and happy as they sang and prayed together. Intrigued by this change, Miller began researching the factors that increase children's risk of depression. She discovered that poverty and having a depressed mother are risk factors, whereas an affectionate parenting style is protective. However, Miller still wondered about the potential protective impact of spirituality. Her research analyzed survey data from mothers and children who reported high levels of spirituality. She found that when both the mother and child reported spirituality was important to them, the child was 80% protected against depression. This intergenerational transfer of spirituality was the strongest protective factor against depression she had found. Dr. Lisa Miller's findings show that spirituality can protect against depression, and high levels of spirituality in mothers and children provide the strongest protection. Her research opens a new frontier in exploring the science of spirituality. Spirituality and mental health. In her book, Miller discusses Dr. Kenneth Kendler's groundbreaking study, which reveals the connection between spirituality and mental health in adults. Kendler used pairs of twin siblings to establish that spirituality is embedded in our genes, and humans are born with an innate capacity for spiritual development. He found that a person could be spiritual but not religious, and spirituality protects against depression, alcoholism, and negative stress. Furthermore, the presence of spirituality is twice as protective against depression for teens than for adults, and the disentanglement between religion and spirituality is stronger in adolescence than in adulthood. Miller argues that spirituality has a genetic basis and forms part of our individual spiritual beliefs and personal development as humans. The brain and spirituality. Research has shown that there is a link between depression and spirituality stemming from differences in brain structure. Individuals with a family history of depression have a thinner outer cortex in the right side of their brain responsible for perception, while those who are spiritual have a thicker cortex in the same areas. People who are high risk for depression but also spiritual have a thicker cortex than those who are low risk. Studies show that spirituality is heightened during times of struggle and suffering, and failure to embrace it can increase the likelihood of depression. The research suggests that spiritual awakening is written in our biology, and a spiritual brain is a healthier brain. Signs of hope. After struggling with infertility, Miller receives a fertilized duck embryo, and the subsequent events lead her to believe in synchronicities and messages from the universe. She starts paying attention to these signs, which helps her make a decision to pursue adoption. Miller reflects on the 2 types of attention and concludes that spiritual healing is about tuning in to what life is revealing to us. The power of spiritual awareness. In The Awakened Brain, Lisa Miller explores the connection between spirituality and the ability to see beyond our conscious control. Through her own fertility journey and research, Miller discovered that spiritual awareness activates the brain's ventral attention network, allowing us to perceive a larger consciousness. By listening to the messages it reveals, Miller believes she was guided toward finding her son and eventually conceiving naturally. The key message is that aligning with a larger meaning that life reveals to us can help heal from suffering. Cultivating our spiritual capacity is key, as genes only account for 29% of spirituality's impact, leaving the other 71% up to us. The science of spiritual awakening. The research of Miller shows how spirituality is biologically based and integral to human development. Spiritual experiences activate the awakened mind, while stressful situations activate the achieving mind, as different modes of awareness working in distinct areas of the brain. Miller's findings reveal that spirituality can protect against depression, addiction, and mental illness. This is because our capacity for spirituality is biological and works in the same regions of the brain as depression, but to the opposite effect. Moreover, she highlights that mental struggle may be the first step in spiritual awakening. There are two modes of awareness that see the world and our place in it very differently. Spiritual experiences deactivate the achieving mind and activate the awakened mind. Miller and her team recorded the brain activity of young adults telling a story about a stressful event as well as a spiritual experience. While the achieving mind was activated by the stressful situation, the awakened mind was activated during the spiritual experience. The awakened mind uses different parts of the brain that help us be more open to information from different sources. It allows us to see the meaning and relationship between events while feeling more connected and less alone. The Awakened Brain, Unraveling Mysteries of Human Connection. Dr. Jacobo Grinberg's experiments showcased unprecedented revelations about human connection, which eventually led to discovering brain-to-brain syncing or resonance. Humans' interconnectedness through this resonance with others, nature, and greater unity enables an awakened brain to perceive a deeper reality. This resonance effect frequency is found everywhere, including in nature and human love, significantly more in spiritual people. The research also exhibits that the relational aspect of spirituality has a robust association with cortical thickening in the brain, protecting against depression.
In The Awakened Brain, Lisa Miller brings to light the fascinating connections between spirituality, mental health, and our biological capacity for spiritual development. By uncovering the relationship between a thicker cortex and spiritual experiences, Miller proves that spirituality serves as a strong protective factor against depression and other mental health struggles. The awakened mind allows us to perceive the world in a more interconnected and unified way, promoting healing and personal growth. Embrace the power of the awakened brain and cultivate your spiritual capacity to tap into life's deeper meaning and connections, ultimately leading to a more fulfilling and inspired life. Remember, spiritual development is 71% up to you. Make it your mission.